Welcome to Living the Fit Life podcast, episode 66. I'm your host, Chad Mueller, and if this is your first Living the Fit Life episode, welcome. Happy to have you joining. Usually we dive into fitness, nutrition, recovery, all sorts of awesome fitness topics. And then those who have been around for a while, you know the drill. This is season 3. This is episode 66. And first episode for my staple co-host, Coach ADJ. How's it going, buddy?
Good to be back, man. First time in season 3 I've been on here, and first time in a long time. So this is awesome.
Yeah. We took a little bit of break, and then we've had some pretty cool guests on with Dave and Presley the past few weeks, and I'm super excited about our conversation today with a fantastic guest again. Our guest today is Jesse Bruce. He's an OG hybrid athlete. He's the co-founder and programming director of One Academy in Toronto. He has a legit resume. If I can just list off a few things here. Third place world toughest mudder. So I want to get into the 24-hour tough mudder version. Third place North American champs, OCR, and 3K and 15K pro. First place team at OCR world champs. He's done 50 plus Spartan races, an ultra beast. He's done triathlons. I think 6th overall in the AG Muskoka 70.3. He's done trail runs, Bear Mountain, Ultra 50K. So this guy's an endurance beast, and he just recently did High Rocks, which is really cool. We've talked about High Rocks a little bit on the podcast before, and he placed 6th place in the pro division. So a stacked resume. How's it going, Jesse?
Good. Real
Welcome.
good, you guys.
Yeah, great, man. I mean, that's an insane, man. Like you, how long have you been doing sort of this endurance type stuff, like racing?
Well, I would say I'm a late bloomer, so I didn't even start running until I was about 29.
Okay.
Late bloomer going to school too, getting my act together, joined the cross country team. And then from there, just as I was finishing up, that's probably about the start when obstacle course racing started to explode. And then I did my first obstacle course. I loved it. I loved the endurance, the speed, being a runner, and then having to be strong and overcome these obstacles and the carries and whatnot. And it fit me well, and I loved everything it kind of stood for. And then just been kind of doing everything from there. So the past 10 years, I think this year's my 10th year.
That's so cool. And Adam, like you introduced me to Jesse, and when I look at this resume and when I hear this, it sounds a lot like what you're up to lately. Like, how did you guys sort of first meet?
Well, it's kind of what I'm up to, but usually my credentials don't quite stack.
You're getting there. You're just a few years behind.
I'm just like hanging around in the weeds as Jesse stands on the podium at these races. You know?
Okay.
I know. I've seen your CrossFit stuff, and that's just in my opinion, that's just at a whole other level. Like the amount of time and skill that takes to get master all those lifts, and then to me it's mind blowing. Like I don't even know how you do it.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex sport, but I'm fascinated. So I kind of got to know Jesse when I started into Ironman and triathlon training because our head coach Mark Cullen, him and Jesse crossed paths in the cross country world, I think, and they've always raced each other and trained and competed and whatever. So and then Jesse raced Muskoka half Ironman 3 or 4 years ago now, which is crazy. That was his first or second half Ironman. He crushed it there. And then anyways, the rest is history. Now he just, grabs onto these different sports and ends up
crushes.
Yeah. Which is cool.
I have to ask Jesse, like, out of all the different sort of accolades you've sort of reached in regards to these sports, just so you know, most of the listeners know that I'm pretty naive to the endurance world. I try to understand more. I sort of probably sound more of a beginner than I actually am on these podcasts, but which one stands out as like a huge feat for you in regards to one of these races or any of these things? Like, do you have a specific highlight that you always remember?
You know what? I think that third place podium at the world's toughest mudder 24-hour event. I don't know. I think between that and the OCR World Championships, those podiums there, like that 24-hour one probably really sticks out because it was a nasty freaking course, and you're fighting. So you're trying to get as many 5-mile laps complete in that 24 hours as you can. And different obstacles are opening up. And then also it ended up being, so it's in November, and it was in Atlanta, and I had to tap out the year before in Vegas at about the 70-mile mark due to hypothermia. It was bad. So I was like, okay, Atlanta, it's going to be a bit warmer. I wanted to deal with the cold as much. Like in Vegas, it gets freaking cold in the middle of the night out there in the desert. So anyway, but then as we approached to this one, the weather is like staying cold, and it ended up being the coldest day in Atlanta's like history.
Come on.
It was freezing. Like there was ice forming, and you're in and out of this freezing cold water. And like the wind is just like piercing your skin, and you're struggling with equipment and like holding on to this stuff. So I just grinded that out. I ran 90 miles or something. So it ended up 50, 160 kilometers, like 400 obstacles or something ridiculous like that. Like just my hands were like 3 times the size, my face, my feet. Like it was I was pretty proud of myself for enduring that. But then, like the Ironman has a whole different meaning to me because I remember, like at the lowest point of my life, way back in the day, I used to really struggle, and I remember seeing an Ironman on TV, and I was like, you know what, one day I'm gonna do an Ironman and call myself an Ironman. And then, for me, it's hard. You got to get that fitness. 2, you got to be able to afford all this freaking stuff, right? And that's what turns some people off it. But for me, it's like a sign of like hard work and like success and what you've been through and going to school and getting all those certs and putting in those long hours and all those years that you didn't make no money, right? And then finally being able to afford a bike. So it's just a sign of how far I've been. So I think finishing that full Ironman was special, and then qualifying for Kona at Tremblant was up there also. So those are the big highlights for me.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, that toughest mudder sounds sort of ridiculous.
Insane.
It's nuts. It's nuts. And the people that are doing it are nuts too, I imagine.
Yeah, and it really attracts a lot of like really hardcore, like really top endurance athletes you'll find out there. So every year it's really competitive. So I was proud of myself to be up there with some big guys that come from all over the world, really.
That's cool. And yeah, so I want to dive into more of the races and stuff like that, but I wanted to I usually ask like where things sort of started for you. I would like to understand more about how sort of fitness brought you out of I know you mentioned a few times like a dark place of your life. How did fitness lead into this like really impressive resume? And like, how did you start getting into that fitness area? Like what made you make that switch?
Well, for me, I used to be pretty athletic as a kid. I loved playing baseball, hockey, me and my friends just sports all day, every day. And then, I played rep and whatnot, and I was pretty good. But, as we got older, everybody else was growing. I'm a little bit of a late bloomer, stopped growing. I struggled with confidence, self-esteem. Stopped playing sports, got into kind of other stuff, partying, smoking weed, drinking. That went down a pretty long, dark road itself for a lot of years. And then I discovered, let's just say I got pretty, my life got pretty out of control, and I was in and out of jail and whatnot. And, I was about 19 years old, and I was, into some pretty bad stuff. And, I'd lost all my weight. I was skinny, you can see every bone in my body. I couldn't even physically eat. And, I went to, I was in jail for about 6-7 months there, and they actually had a a weight set, and I was eating regularly. And, I honestly I put on like probably 20, 30 pounds of muscle in that 6-7 months, and was just working at it every day. I was reading all the Muscle and Fitness and Flex magazines, and it made me feel good about myself. And I did, it was a long time before I had anything to feel good about myself for. I'd stopped going to school. So for me, the boost in confidence, self-esteem, it changed my life. And then for the first time in a while, I had some hope. I was like, when I got out and some people saw the change in me, they were like, holy shit, Jesse, like, what do you do? And I started bringing people to the gym. And then I was like, man, maybe I can do this for a living, right? I got to be a personal trainer. I wanted to help people who struggled with the same stuff I did. Mind you, I didn't just change my life right there. It was still a up and down struggle to get. Finally, I got my act together, got into college for fitness and health promotion, just wanted to be a personal trainer, right? I never thought about making money. I didn't think about, for me, it was more life or death at that situation. Like, I just need to do something. And, I ended up getting to school, working hard, got really good marks. I was able to, I finished, top of my class, and was able to bridge over to third year kinesiology at University of Guelph Humber. And they had a cross country team there. And, I'd always been just weightlifting, aesthetics, trying to get that bench and squat, deadlift up. And, I ran around a bit, whatever. But, I got the university there, 29 years old. And I thought, hey, maybe I can try out for this cross country team. That'd be kind of fun. And it was funny because all these kids are like 17, 18, 19 years old. Some kid comes up to me, shakes my hand, thinking I'm the coach. I'm like, I'm here to try out. Went for that first tryout, gave her, and I was a lot like bigger then too. But I still had hustle and heart. I was just grinding through this workout, just everything I had, and I made that team, and it was cool to see how much that team changed my life. Just being a part of those brothers and sisters fighting through those workouts and doing those races. For at the time were hell to me, right? Like an 8-kilometer race, everything you have, like frig, man, that was hell. I was suffering, but I could barely even walk too. Just walk so sore, like these workouts. I was probably only running like 40 kilometers a week too. No easy runs, no long runs, just doing the workouts. And but anyway, the more you learn, the better you get. And I got a lot faster over those next couple of years. I ended up being captain of that team, and it was just really cool to be a part of it. And I wanted to create something like that. I wanted to create that community, that family. For me, I know that working hard, putting yourself in some pain, your body will change. I know that, physically changing your body can change your mood, whatever you're going through, make you feel better about yourself, your mental health. I know that, having that community is good for your emotional health, and just it's not just physical. It's not just getting fitter, stronger. That all around health and feeling better, not wanting to die no more, and not struggling, and, wanting to do good thing and have it just like catapulting and, building into bigger and more stuff. And I wanted to, bring people a part of that. And that's right when obstacle coursing started kind of blowing up. And I went and I did my first event, and I ended up winning it. And I was like, okay, great. Because for me, I started taking business courses. I graduated kinesiology, wanting to start a business. No idea where to even start. So I took business, and then obstacle course racing became big. And then for me, it was just trying to stick out as much as I can. So whether it made winning races, working harder, doing things different my way. And I started my first company, Time for War Fitness. So I won a pitch competition. I won some money. I put together a business plan. I bought a van. I filled it up with everything you can think of that you can throw, carry, pull, drag, lift, and then a lot of traditional stuff too. And I went and I would set up these crazy obstacle course training camps at Centennial Park in Etobicoke and Chinguacousy and Brampton, and just made these epic courses. Just would use the whole freaking field. Like I would make these We'd have 1, 2, and 3 kilometer courses, and then once a month I would have the Ultimate Warrior, and I would spread all this stuff over the entire field, and people loved it, and it was cool. And my thing, it grew, and I got a facility the year after. Someone saw what I was doing, and then from there, that didn't work out so well, but I built a community. Other people saw what I was doing, and we partnered on making a bigger thing, One Academy. So that's a long story short.
I mean, it's an amazing and a very inspiring story. I mean, you definitely walk the walk and talk the talk, right? Like, that's pretty incredible.
Thanks.
Pretty incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, like, I mean, kudos to you for, going through that and coming out the other side in such a significant way, right? Like, that's amazing. And it sounds like you lived through the dark times, and you kind of really relied on hard work. Like, it sounds like hard work is the common theme here. Like, it seems like, the tough Mudder, or the toughest Mudder, is just really hard work, right? And it's like, well, it seems like you're just down, like deep down, you're just a hard worker.
That's my motto. All you got to do is work hard. Like, even these days, like, I wish I could tell. I always used to worry about what the heck I was going to do when I grew up, because I didn't think I was smart. I was always behind. I was small. And honestly, like, even people today, I'm like, all you got to do is work hard and you'll go far. I'll take a hard worker any day, and someone making constant mistakes over someone, brilliant and lazy.
Yeah. Amen to that. Amen to that. So what is, so I wanted to ask you about, Hyrox, because me and Adam have talked about it. Adam's sort of been intrigued to do it once or twice. There's another guy that we know that's been doing it. How was the Hyrox experience for you? I mean, you did great.
It was awesome. I loved it. It was, I know, like, and it just throws another wrench in my plan, because I'm like, shit, I really want to focus on, one of these events and do really good at it. And I love triathlon. I love obstacle course racing. It's always been a big part of my life. And then I went and I did this Hyrox, and it was a cool event. Like, it was just tightly ran, well organized, exciting. Just their timing system even, and just the events, and like, it's easy to kind of train for. You can simulate it at your own gym, and just going back to hard work, like, it's straight up hard work. Like, obstacle course racing, you kind of got to dial it back a bit. There's some crazy, Ninja Warrior rigs that you got to work your way through, that if you're, at 100%, it zaps you, and you can fail those. But this is just straight up grunt work, run, ski, run, sled. The rest of the stuff, like burpee broad jumps, farmer carry lunges, is just, I loved it. I did.
Sounds like a guy like Adam should be doing this for sure. All those things make sense.
Yeah. I'm just dreaming for when it comes this way, and I think it must, because a lot of people are going down there to do it. It seems to be exploding. Everybody seems to talk about it. Everybody's talking about it at our gym. It's, you'll see our CrossFit athletes there. You'll see runners there. There was a lot of triathletes there at the one I went in Houston, and then you're just all your gym people, so it's really cool. I like the idea of fitness racing too. So it's something I've, really been kind of doing at our gym forever, trying to find an inclusive, standardized way of measuring your fitness and performance. These guys just did it. What makes them really stick out is just how organized it was. How just it seems that, you think there might be backlog or whatever, but the whole thing flowed perfect. I love the exercises they picked. Even the pain at the end the next day, you're not beat up. Like, you just feel like you went through a solid workout, and you can just kind of unleash hell, and you can't go, it's still going to be over an hour long, right? So you can't go. I think a lot of people go too hard out of the gate, and so it's really cool.
Yeah, super excited to give it a try. Jesse, I saw your post on Instagram like a week or two ago, and just exactly what you said there. You were like, man, just wanted to focus on one thing, but then, I just can't. This is amazing.
Oh, so I was like, man, I'm freaking just stressing out which one I got to do. I also got this freaking expensive bike, so I have to do triathlons. So that's for sure. Then you throw this in the mix, and it's great. But I think you can train for all of them. Like I said in that post, like I find cycling goes a long way with a lot of stuff. I don't know if you find it help any of your CrossFit stuff, but since I picked up biking, I find my hill climbing better, and then I was able to handle. I didn't train for that high rocks like a super amount. I went and felt a lot of the stations in the exercise. I did some kind of stimulation stuff, and I found, and I'm not like I wasn't the biggest guy there, but I'm probably towards the smaller end, and I was able to push that sled faster than most in the lunges. I got killed on the sled pull, so practice that sled pull. Mm-hmm. That cost me big time.
There's a little bit of technique in that, I think.
Yeah, you want to get low in that squat, reach long because there's a little bit of stretch to the rope.
Right.
And just be ready for that. So I've been doing it over and over and over again since I think I'm going back. I'm going to Anaheim in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, right. You're going right back at it. Amazing. And that's the North America champs?
I don't think so, but it's kind of the last one of this season before the World Championship. So there's a lot of people trying to go and qualify or get into what this is called as the Elite 15, like basically the top 15 times from the planet. So that's just really cool. The timing, as soon as you finish, you see your time of the day, you see your place and time in each individual station, but then you also see your place and time compared to history. Compared to every single person in your age group, every single person ever. Like whatever they did, the timing system is just tight. Like they figured that out because I've been trying to do timing systems, whatever. It's expensive. Yeah. So whatever the heck they've done, like they got it down pat.
Are all 15 times below an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the slowest time, the 15th place time, my buddy Rich just did it in the last event. I think it was like 59:12 or something.
So you got to do the 8K of running in about 30 to 35 minutes?
Yeah, I think low 30s. Like it looks like, I think the paces, the top guys are still running those at, sub 350.
Yeah.
Holy.
And then obstacles, 350 per kilometer. And then the obstacles, they all vary a little bit, right? But
I think your biggest time makers, like if you can, like you're going to crush the sleds. So that'll be huge. The burpees, I found the burpees were hard, but running after the burpees was the hardest.
So lunges, running after the lunges.
Yeah, like lunges for me, lunges are my jam. So I freaking cooked those and was able to get right into the run. I think the rower I found running hard out of too.
Yeah. That's like running off the bike, kind of, eh?
Yeah.
Kind of
so doing a little more of that. After the sled, it's for sure hard, but it's hard for everybody. So,
right. Cool.
But yeah, it seems like I think Hunter just did it in I think 54 something.
Yeah, you're gonna take down Biceps Win Racing.
That guy, he's a machine. I don't think anybody's taking him down.
Yeah, he's a great runner, and now he's strong, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you because this is a conversation we've had a lot. Like, who's gonna end up being like the high rocks type athlete, right? Is it gonna be the CrossFitter that was good at running, or is it gonna be the triathlete or runner that somehow becomes significantly stronger, right? Like, is this like yeah, go ahead.
I think it's the CrossFitters that can run.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some really fast CrossFit runners. Mm-hmm. I think Adam's going to crush it too because your running game has picked up huge, has it not? Like you crushed that Barrelman 70.3 last year. You're right up there.
I'm getting closer to being comfortable at that like 4 minute per kilometer threshold kind of mark, and then the obstacles, I think those with my training would be kind of right in my wheelhouse. So I'm excited to do it. I just got
Have one date, or are you waiting for them to come to Canada?
I don't know what I'm waiting for. I'm like you, man. It's like you fit
Next
it in.
year.
You don't care, but I'm like I'm trying to look on the calendar. Like where do I fit this
Yeah.
awesome race in? But maybe I'll try to get one in like in next season.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of leaning towards. So I'm going to do this one,
Yeah.
then get into kind of triathlon and some more road races season, like do some 5s and 10s, half marathons, and some 70.3s and Olympic throughout the summer. And then I think I'm going to go long, try to get my Kona spot in the fall. And then I think once I have that, just spend like October to like March just doing like high rock. Because the way I'm looking at it is like, okay, I can still bike, swim a couple times a week, but then just really build a crazy like strength foundation and keep my running up. And then I think that would, if I take that into March, April, and then just straight up March, April from there, just legit focus on Kona, knock on wood, hope I can qualify.
Yeah.
That's my plan in a nutshell.
Amazing. I think like, to your point, when you're fit, you're fit. So the carryover I'm realizing more and more every year is like compounds, right? So, the fitter you get on the bike, the fitter you get in your run game, the stronger you get. It all like goes together, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask, because you were just saying that like, if you're fit, you're fit, right? But like, I know Jesse on your Instagram, you have, I was hybriding before it was even cool. Like we've heard the hybrid athlete as a really buzzword the past few years. I remember me and Adam on one of the first podcasts we talked about Adam's sort of, he was pretty deep into CrossFit, got introduced to endurance. We talked about this hybrid athlete, and I know Nick Bear also talks. And so there's a lot of like hybrid athletes out there now. Like, what is your thoughts on like this idea? Do you feel like it's just like a buzzword of the time and we've always been this way, or like, what do you think? Or is it because of the increase in sports, kind of like CrossFit and High Rocks and other sports that are kind of bringing a lot of different things into one modality or multiple modalities into one sport?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's so much stuff out there, and people out there want to do everything. Like even at my gym, like people just want to do everything together, and it's like such FOMO. And and I think it's awesome. It's cool, and that's why I like Adam's, competing at the top. Like it's one thing to, I see a lot of like, this hybrid athlete, cool, and you're kind of just doing a race or whatever, then doing like an ultra trail, but kind of walking it or just finishing it, and that's cool and like whatever. But it's like, it's like, come on, like anybody can just go and finish something. I can go freaking, walk an ultra trail marathon tomorrow and get, do a freaking marathon swim or something. For me, it's like training for them and competing at them and doing your best at them and putting yourself in some pain. Like I want to see people, cool, you're lifting the weight at the gym and you're a gym rat, and that's awesome. And then you're running on the treadmill 20 minutes a week and then doing a half marathon and saying you're whatever, you're this and that. It's like, let's up it a bit. Like, let's see some freaking putting yourself in some pain for those.
But I think to your point, Jesse and Chad, like I think to go deep dive all into CrossFit or all into Ironman or all into OCR can become a daunting, punishing task in itself, and you can get like sucked into that and almost, spiral out of control.
Yeah.
So I think just like constantly, maybe it's because of our ADHD, but we just need that like stimulus of different, challenges and to push the limits.
Yeah, it's true. And that's another thing. I find myself more motivated to kind of, it like excites me more to kind of, try to do as good as I can at some of these stuff when.
Right. Like the difference between qualifying for Kona and winning Kona, like you're in the top 1% in the world to qualify for Kona, but to win Kona, you're, the best triathlete in the world. Like, just like to qualify for High Rocks
Yeah.
World Championship Elite, you know, like it's fun to just be diverse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think for sure, like, you know, being motivated by doing different things is an easy way to be motivated. I guess some people would say, well, I'm overwhelmed by just like some people might just say, like, the weekend warrior would be like, I'm just overwhelmed by this training block, right? Like they might just be like, just keep me on this standard path, right? We see that a lot with CrossFit, right? People jump into CrossFit and they stay in CrossFit for quite some time until maybe they start getting banged up or they get injured and they kind of pull it back. But, you know, they stay there because it's sort of one lane, and CrossFit has done a really good job of kind of bringing in lots of different modalities into one single sport, right? And now it seems like these additional sports have sort of, like the endurance sports and the high rock sports and even like some of the powerlifting, like they've all kind of started to meld a bit like that too. So I imagine it can be like, I was going to ask you, like, so you were mentioning, Jesse, like you're sort of your lineup for the rest of the year. Like, how do you balance your training for all these different variety of sports? Do you look at it like, for the next 3 months I'm doing X, and then 3 months after that I'm doing X? Like, do you actually schedule it out like that in like training blocks?
You know what? I'm not actually, admittedly, I'm not actually very good at like just scheduling out my own kind of program or whatever. Like I know kind of what I need, and I for me, I just look for, you know, the parallels in all of them, right? Like I know, and I mentioned this in a post, like they all involve running. You know, I should be doing my threshold running. I should be doing my VO2 max intervals. That's going to benefit high rocks here. That's going to benefit triathlon here. Obstacle course racing here. Like right now, I'm doing a lot of lifting, essentially building that base strength, trying to get a little bit stronger, and then that's going to help my, you know, obstacle course racing. You're lugging some freaking, you know, heavy sandbags up the side of a mountain or carrying your body weight through a rig or something. So there's a lot of parallels with my strength training right now. So right now I'm doing a lot of, you know, I am doing a lot of deads, back squat, bench press, and then incorporating a lot of that specific stuff into it too. And then, and then just pretty much, you know, for me, I just think biking helps everything. Swimming is like my nice, even though I got to get back in the pool a little more right now, but swimming is just going to help everything. Swimming is almost like a easy workout. You just kind of chill. I'm already fit. I don't need to do a swim workout. I need to just go and swim technique and practice, you know, being able to go long and, you know, being efficient or whatever. So I can save a workout there. And, yeah, that's pretty much like it. Like once
You're very modest. I love your simplified approach. I mean, it makes sense, right? Running is like the common thing, so just run. But like, and then you're just like, yeah, the swimming is pretty easy. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. So I kind of more go week by week, and then like I overlook, and then like I know kind of what I need and what's coming up, and I'm constantly changing my mind and stuff too, and what I want to do. I'm still trying to figure out like what half marathon I'm going to do. I just signed up for the Pride 5K, so I want to try to get that sub 16 I've always wanted to get in June. So, and then I got the 70.3 in July. So I'm like, okay, sweet. I can do this and then that and then here, this, there. And, and then awesome obstacle courses in June and August. So it's like, and then I'm like, okay, then I got to start go after that Pride run. I got to start really getting some long bikes in if I'm going to do a full Ironman, because that's the full Ironman just changes everything, because it's getting out there for all those hours. It's a different kind of, you're out there freaking enduring, and you need to, like, if you're not ready for a full Ironman, like that can throw you off for months after.
Yeah, I think the full Ironman, then the training focus has to shift more. Like you have to be all in. You can't be doing and all that other stuff. Yeah.
You got to get out there for those 30, 35K runs, those 5, 6, 7 hour bike rides, those runs off the bike every day. You got to get out there for those freaking hour and a half swims out there in the open water. And but my theory is I'm just hoping all this training right now and this heavy stuff is going to really help go long. My endurance comes from strength, and I think I don't know, I like the idea of that strength base that's going to help that endurance base, and then just getting out there and time on feet, time in the saddle, time in the water, yeah.
I think that's awesome because I'm so robotic and structured that, like, in Ironman season, I'll do some strength training, but it's like very, like, I'll back off, whether it's a half Ironman or a full Ironman. And then in CrossFit season, I'll do one bike and one run a week, but I back off. But my big goal going forward, like you, is to find this like perfect balance.
Yeah.
The ultimate training plan to like collide both worlds and be able to do like a 70.3 and like a CrossFit competition and like be able to be super high level at both, or a high level. Imagine being able to do one
like similar time.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Or like leave CrossFit out and say like a High Rocks one weekend and a 70.3 the next.
Yeah.
2 weeks later or whatever.
That's feasible. I think a CrossFit competition and a 70.3 and then to do both at a high level.
Yeah.
Oof. That's
but just the combo of that, like, strength and what is the minimum requirement for both to stay at peak levels. So it'll be cool.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, but also kind of the fun part.
That's the fun part, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean,
new sports, right? Like, triathlon, Ironman, those are old sports, but CrossFit's a new sport. High Rocks is a new sport. Even obstacle course racing is a new sport. Like, they haven't really defined the perfect athlete yet for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
Jesse, have you done CrossFit before?
I have not done I've done like a couple CrossFit like classes in places, and I liked it, but like for me, like what's prevented me from diving in, like for one, I've always been, since I started training, I've been a runner. And then, like, I look at just the Olympic lifts, and I'm like, man, it's going to take me forever to master those. And, like, even just the gymnastic stuff, I'm like, and that's what I'm always amazed by CrossFit athletes. And it actually bothers me with people, people bash CrossFit or whatever, any kind of fitness, there's haters out there, and it's like, look at what these freaking men and women are doing. Like, holy shit. Like, like just the lifts alone and the time it takes to master that craft, and then the gymnastic stuff is just like mind blowing. So I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to like have the dedication and time to kind of do that and do what I want to do. I think obstacle course racing, endurance, going long stuff is more, suited to me, and I've just always
keeps your focus a little better.
Yeah, and then I'm like, so I can go learn CrossFit, but then this is going to be down. I might even be like an average CrossFitter.
Gotcha.
I'm like a decade into learning the Olympic lifting and gymnastics, right? So it's like, and plus I was a hockey player, so I already did like tons of squats, bench, deads, power cleans, like. I already kind of knew that gymnastics was very new, but it's funny that you can still be like kind of like High Rocks and triathlon. Like, you can still be pretty damn competitive in CrossFit without being a master of a couple of those skills. Like, say you're strong, like, if your squat is good and your upper body strength, like, you can still be pretty damn good just by being really fit, which is cool.
I mean, that's I guess that's what CrossFit prides itself on, right? Like, not having a master of one, but a master of many, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. The CrossFit Open and like be close. There would be a couple movements, but be close.
How'd you find those?
to the quarterfinals.
How'd you find those 100 wall balls at High Rocks at the end? How was that?
Oh, man, they were freaking nasty. It was nasty.
An hour into your workout, and then you got 100 wall balls.
Yeah, I did 30 and then 7 sets of 10, and was just trying not to take too long between those 7 sets. But I had freaking nothing, and I got really nauseous there too. I was trying not to barf.
Yeah.
I felt
Oh,
good,
God.
like $1,000,000 the whole time, except right there, about 30 wall balls left. I was like, holy fuck, I'm going to go to the washroom. But
There's something about that, like,
yeah,
position and head position that you gotta,
but it was hard. But the good thing is the finish line's right there. You have no more runs. So that's what I liked about it. Like, it's just straight up, like, work hard. So I have a plan for the next one. I'm hoping to do 40 and then 5 sets of 12 and literally just do 12, 3 steps back, right back into it. So,
super sweet.
but it's so cool because it's freaking chaos at that point because every person has a rep. So there's a ref yelling at you, counting out your reps, and all your people are right around the fence yelling at you. Then you have people coming in and everywhere. So it's just, and then you don't know where other people are at. So some guys, people are all beside you, and you're thinking they're right, like on your ass. So you're like, you can't stop. But it's freaking like I got to that finish line. I think that might have been the most pain I've been in at a finish line.
Cool.
Yeah, they designed it very well. I love that about High Rocks. Like they've done a good job with like making drama of a finish line really well with a static movement without running, without racing across the finish line. Right?
Yeah,
that's cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys do it and reaching it because it's
yeah, pretty cool. Cool.
Sweet.
I wanted to also talk about. I mean, both of your sort of super fit communities. I mean, I don't know a lot about One Academy, but it sounds like it's very similar to Limitless in the sense of you have a lot of crazy weekend warriors, A-type personalities, people balancing like high level careers, families, training, sports, like trying to compete into some sort of sport. How like. What is it about your communities that makes sort of this competing aspect of, fitness racing so important to the community?
Yeah.
And both of you can answer that. I mean, both of you probably are.
I don't know. It's not even as much about the fitness racing. I think like we just have our community is so inclusive, so welcoming. We really try to like we really try to design like programming and stuff in a way for everybody to stick out. Like we want it to be for our strength athletes to come and your endurance athletes, your conditioning, your fitness goers, your team sport athletes. And I don't know if it's as much about the fitness. Like people just come in and they're part of this community and like one person, like one of my coaches went and did the High Rocks in New York, and then, 20 of us saw it, and 20 of us went to Houston. Now there's a shitload of them going down in New York next month. I can't go because I have a triathlon. I'm like freaking. Again, if I didn't have this expensive bike behind me, I might have gone to New York. But everybody that jumps in wants to challenge yourself. Very inclusive. Whether you're that person at the front of the pack looking to get that PR, or that person that's going longer and longer, the person trying something new. Like I think just very, just very inclusive, and that's what makes it well. And I haven't. These guys over here at Limitless, are the only ones I've ever seen that are like doing something, comparable as success as we
have a hard time putting it into words too, like why it works. I think it's the type A personality.
Yeah,
they come to the gym because they want to get fit and healthy, but then when you get fit and healthy, the motivation to show up every day. It's nice to have some little goals and check-ins and markers, and I think these like races and competition And when your friends and your fellow members in the community are all doing it, you
Yeah.
get a little FOMO and you want to join in with them and you want to be part of it. So it's like a community building, a way of doing community building in a, way less formal manner. And you create these cool memories. Like 20 people from their gym go to Houston, and how many memories you create doing that, right? It's about the race, but it's not. It's about the preparation and it doesn't matter where anyone finishes.
Yeah,
It's about,
exactly.
the accomplishment, which is cool.
Yeah, that's nice. We always try to put purpose to the training too. It's instead of just going in and jumping around and whatnot, like it's nice to kind of create our own finish lines. So we have our Saturday morning Everest class, which is essentially a fitness racing event that I've been doing for 10 years. It starts off with a circuit, then same thing at the end. It's run station, 3 different levels until you're done. And for a lot of people, their goal is to go and do Everest on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So it's.
I was going to ask you, Jesse, like what is the programming at One Academy? Like how did you describe it? Like what were the gym goers doing today?
So we simply call ourselves a strength and cardio gym. So it might look like, some people mistake us for CrossFit, but it looks like a CrossFit box. We have a rig. It's a giant empty space. We have everything, but we call ourselves a strength and cardio gym. It probably relates more to like a team sports team training that you would see, like, but in more of a box type form. So a lot more room to run around. So we have strength classes. We have conditioning classes. They alternate each day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are strength right now. Tuesday, Thursday, conditioning. Tuesdays are sprint class. You'll see shorter intervals in there, 20 to 60 seconds, getting that higher intensity. And then our Thursdays are our class called Marathon. So that's like a fitness racing style class too, where we're getting people to work for anywhere from 6 minutes to 18 minutes to the entire kind of 40 minutes of the class. And, it'll be like AMRAP style or AMREP style, and kind of get as many stations done as you can, and all kind of similar to what High Rocks has done, like really make them achievable, easy. I don't want to say easy, but like, your wall balls, your squats, your sleds, your skis, your rows, your assault bikes, your anything measurable and that can be done. Like for me, it's like, okay, I want, a 70-year-old man or woman and a kid to come in on that day and be able to do the workout and understand it. And so we keep it pretty practical for those style classes. And even to be honest with you, all our classes, I like simple is effective in my opinion. And so that's pretty much it. Then our weekend, we have lower body on Saturday afternoon, upper Sunday afternoon, Marathon again Sunday morning, Everest Saturday morning, then a conditioning class even before that. So we would kind of get their work out of the day. So that's kind of what our gym looks like.
Amazing.
Yeah, super cool. I mean, it sounds like a group of hard workers like yourself.
Yeah, everybody works freaking hard. I had an Australian football team in the other day just doing a private event, and they got their asses kicked. And I was like, these guys would get smoked in any one of our classes by our everyday gym goers, right? They might have been, they're probably a bit out of shape. Their season doesn't start for another 8 weeks, so it's a good wake-up call for them to probably get together. I bet you it'll be a different team if they came in a couple months from now. But it makes you proud of your team, right? Like, everybody works hard. But it's always go at your level. But yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, for the people listening, go ahead, Adam.
I always say, like, man, the level of fitness inside these gyms compared to the average population and people who go to the gym every day and think they're fit. Like, just the amount of work that gets completed in every workout every day is like, it create like, you go to the gym and you see a guy, you know, bench pressing a 45-pound plate, or you see a guy squatting 2 plates, and you see you just see that all the time in these gyms, not to mention like the ability to do a ton of conditioning and all of that stuff. It's not just one or the other. So it is cool how fit these everyday Joe weekend warriors get. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, like, for the listeners, definitely Google One Academy. It's not just a standard warehouse gym. It's pretty impressive. It's quite the facility, and I know it's one of the biggest and probably the most popular gym in Toronto. So
I would say we're up there. We're opening up a second location on the west,
amazing,
Kipling and the Queensway. So we're flanking Toronto. So that'll be opening this summer.
Amazing, Chad. We got to get down and do one of their their workouts for sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah, come down Saturday morning with me at 9 a.m. Everest.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds really fun. Let's do it. Let's do it. I wanted to ask you quickly a little bit sort of about nutrition. I remember you were saying earlier on, like, there's a time period where your nutrition wasn't so hot, and I know it's one of those things where it's like, once you enter into fitness, right, nutrition is sort of really closely tied to our fitness gains. I wanted to ask you, like, what is your sort of nutrition journey look like? Like, what is your experience with food like?
So to be honest with you, food is actually something I struggle with. But I don't follow any whatever diet out there. I'm just straight up eat your freaking vegetables, eat your fruits, eat your protein, get your protein in, eat your, just eat clean. I try to eat as much, plant-based foods as I can. So, a typical day for me is getting up, eat 3 eggs, a couple slices of toast, a couple pieces of fruit. I love my overnight oats as my mid-morning snack. I eat a lot of cereal, sandwich for lunch. I'm normally like a protein, a starch, and a vegetable for dinner. What
kind of cereal are we talking?
Oh, I eat all cereal. So honestly, what I like is just the plain cereals. I like Corn Flakes and Rice Krispies. And that's my kind of cheat. Even like Special K, it just has a little bit of maple syrup on there. You're good to go. So that's what I try, because I'm not gonna lie, I have a sweet tooth, and I think like I'm a recovering alcoholic addict, and I think I still have those. So I like food is something I struggle with sometimes, and I go on these bad binges. But I'm feeling like, for me, is like I'm just constantly in this mission to just be making sure everything's tight. Because the better I feel, the less I go to. And the past few weeks, honestly, I've been feeling like $1 million. So my diet's been clean, feeling like $1 million, and trying to. It's funny, right? Like, I'm 40 and I'm still trying to. I'm like, I quit smoking, I got off dope, I got off booze, like I can get off this freaking sugar. You're still getting those down times, and it's like you feel like shit about yourself, and you're back up. But I find those are getting further between, and for me, it's just like a lifelong battle to get your shit together. But and now I'm like, it's all coming together now. So it's gonna come together for Kona next year fully, and I'm always inspired by your teammate Jessica's race last year. She had in out west there, and it just. I always think about what she said at the end, like having that race that you were meant to have, that you can have. And for me, I'm kind of searching for that, because both the full Ironmans I did, like nutrition, just not being able to hold food down, throwing up, and I'm like, I know I did good, but I know I can do way better. So anyway, I went off the rails there. What was the question again? Nutrition?
No,
you
didn't.
Vegetables, eat clean, try to stay away.
No, you didn't.
Days. I like to go out for dinner once a week, whether it's like at a dirty burger or wings. I've been on a wing. I've been about the wings lately.
Okay. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. No, that you answered the question perfectly. You know, I often sometimes ask like what's your mindset? Is it like performance nutrition, or are you more like from like a healthy nutrition outlook, right? Like I know you guys, both you and Adam, are very much into like competing at a pretty high level, right? So performance nutrition has to go a long way, right?
Yeah,
and oftentimes there's some sacrifices made during those time periods, obviously, to make you perform versus more of maybe a more balanced nutrition.
Yeah. And the good thing is about doing all this stuff is, you know, sometimes it's not only about just getting nutritious foods in you. Sometimes, you know, you just got to eat. That's why I love eating like a lot of, whatever. I got cereal ever, whether it's like muesli or
that's where the cereal comes in.
Cheerios, throw some fruit and stuff on there. Like I got food, I got carbs with me wherever I go.
That's the one thing I love about endurance sports and all the athletes.
Yeah.
You guys got carbs for days.
You get you don't
never without a carb.
Picky. As long as you're getting some color in there, you can be a little less picky, which is the great part.
Same as you, Jesse. I eat way better in my 30s than I did in my 20s. I used to think that nutrition didn't really matter. Like I would always eat a lot of food, and you know, it wouldn't really affect my body comp enough to like really care. At times I would be in better shape, and then at times I wouldn't, you know, be in perfect shape. But I would say over the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I would say like 5 or 6 years ago, I started to care. But then I developed almost some like bad habits from caring like too much, and I was so strict. And then I was missing out on, you know, some of the nutrients that you need from just like eating, you know, everything, like you're saying with cereal and drinking, you know, orange juice and chocolate milk. And over the last 2 years, I would say with endurance training and really focusing on performance nutrition, I've unlocked like a new level of performance and recovery, just from like getting rid of some you know, preconceived like beliefs that I had inside my head that certain things weren't healthy and others. So it's been really, nutrition I would say plays a bigger role for me now than it ever has. And it's I feel like the world of endurance, you guys do some things really, really well naturally, like, you know, eating as many carbs as your body craves, right? And most of them end up being complex carbohydrates. Some of them end up being, you know, simple sugars like cereal and orange juice and chocolate milk. And your nutrition in workouts, like it's unheard of in the gym world pretty much to like, you know, fuel your body during a workout. So that's necessity in an endurance workout. So it's been really fun to learn all of that.
Do you have any, like, what do you use for resources? Do you follow anything, or are you just out there researching and learning from wherever?
Yeah, I've gone through different stages and evolutions. We used in the CrossFit world, we used this company called RP Strength. And then recently our endurance club partnered with an awesome sports nutritionist, Blueprint Nutrition. And she kind of changed the game for me this summer. I started working with her, and she just kind of like made me aware of, you know, you're eating enough protein, you're eating too much fat and not enough carbs. And like, I thought I had this perfect meal plan. And then, you know, I'm a 200-pound guy. You're only, you know, fueling before, during, and after workouts like a 150-pound guy. Like you need to be eating more food, more carbs at the right time. And like, it's been a game changer. So pretty cool.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So it's fun.
My next step, I got to see a sports nutritionist.
Yeah, I think the best thing about
outside advice.
Yeah, and a good one won't change everything you're doing. They just, make some tweaks to an already good routine, right? But
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when I'm at that age too. 41,
you're
42 this year.
You're old.
Yeah, you're such an old guy. Yeah. I was going to finish with asking you about. I mean, based on how you approach a lot of different things, I know you're very you take this simple approach for a lot of different things. So I would like to ask you about recovery. Like, what is your outside of nutrition? And it sounds like, I mean, you're doing a lot of different training, a lot of different sports. Like, what is your recovery modalities? Like, what are you doing anything, practice anything specifically about keeping your body sort of fresh and ready to take on the next challenge?
Not really, to be honest with you. Like, I know when I need to hold.
Swimming, right?
Yeah, swimming. I know when I need a full day off. I like have my full day off and shut it right down. I know enough about what I need to take an easy run. I like to tell people your recovery, especially when it comes to a specific race, starts before the race. Going into it fit, obviously. Going into a freaking marathon, you haven't been training, you're going to get wrecked. You're going to feel like you're going to be done for like a month or two. So obviously, the more prepared you are for the race, the faster your recovery is going to be. Your nutrition, eating clean, being hydrated, the less crappier your nutrition is or less hydrated you are, or you haven't got your electrolytes in, again, the shittier you're going to feel, the more broken you're going to feel. So I always try to just tell people, and I've been trying to learn this, this has really stuck out to me lately, the last Ironman I did at Tremblant. And I'm still trying to figure out what I can and can't eat during the race, because I couldn't, coming out of that swim and on the bike, I've been having a lot of trouble holding nutrition down. I've been, I was throwing everything up, and it was really hard for me to hold it down. Then you get to the run, and you're already behind on carbs and nutrition, and you're struggling through this run and just crushing everything in sight at these 8. And then, when the race was over, I was freaking wrecked for at least a month. And, if you, going into it, I could have been, just had my race day nutrition down. But then you just really find out, obviously, the more prepared you are going into anything, the better that recovery is going to be. So I'm always just like, hey, man, just making sure you're ready for freaking when the day comes. But and same thing with your training throughout the week, right? Getting ahead of it. For me, sleeping is something I've always had a hard time with. So I bounce my workouts around on days where I know I can, I don't have to get up at 4:00 in the morning to go to work or whatever. So try to bounce my stuff out there, and
that's a cool tip, actually. Your big training days are the days that you're going to get some good sleep leading up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I think the coolest thing in the endurance world is, in the gym world, everyone thinks of recovery as rest days. In the endurance world, there's so much benefit of getting out for an easy bike ride or an easy run.
Well, that's it. And that's where the bike triathlon game has helped my running and obstacle course racing, because if I'm feeling banged up, I'm in the pool or on the bike. And, I can get in if I'm feeling banged up from a run or a long run I did over the weekend or still tired. I can get in a solid workout on my bike instead of on my feet running, adding, more stress to my body. So I think over time, learning, listening, not being, not being too proud. And, I'm pretty dialed into myself now, and know when I need to take a full day off, know when I should swim or bike instead of run. I find trail, and then this is another parallel too, obstacle course racing, trail racing. It's nice to get out there on the trails, so it's less stress to the body. So I'll do my bike runs and I'll do my run on the trail, and it's a little, you're bouncing around the trails, you're recruiting a lot more different muscles instead of just pounding the pavement, a linear movement, like not getting those those little muscles and those tendons, whatever, working.
Cool.
I mean, I was gonna say I like that approach of like, I feel like long time ago was very much like you wake up a certain amount of, like you wake up the same time every single day, right? And you do the same thing every day. So I like the idea of being a bit more flexible, where if you know that you're not going to get the amount of sleep that you need, don't force yourself to wake up that early and then hit a big training session. So I mean, that's great. That goes against what we're sort of used to, but I think it's a great tip to keep in mind for sure. For sure.
Glad I can give you some.
I was gonna say, man, this has been awesome, Jesse. I really appreciate you sharing sort of your story, sharing some of. I think there's a lot of information here that people will take a lot out of. So, super great to chat with you. Nice meeting you and sort of hearing your story.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Thanks everyone for listening. I really appreciate it. Episode 66. Thanks, Coach ADJ, for stepping in. All right. Bye, everyone.
Peace.